Namaskaram, this is Krishna. I am the community manager at Ajnalens, and today we are here for an exciting session. We'll be talking about content creation in the age of metaverse. In our panel, we have two esteemed speakers. One is Kapil Dhiman. He is the CEO of Meta Studios, a metaverse and gaming company. He's also an ex Web 3.0 leader at PwC. He has 10 plus years of industry experience in business and consultancy, well known in the industry to deliver innovative and effective solutions from clients across sectors. He's the author of self-help book on relationships. That's wonderful. He has also been one of the panelists on a panel discussion hosted by Entrepreneur India, the topic being shifting to Web 3.0 and blockchain gaming. Really excited for today's session, Kapil, and thank you for agreeing to be a part of this session.
My pleasure, Krishna. Thank you for the kind introduction.
At Bark, PMG, production at L&T, IT sector, and has worked as in the IT sector as a developer at TCS and through life support engineer at L&T Defense. He is also the co-founder of ILXS Private Limited, a startup that he gave birth to 3 years ago. As of now, he is working as a project engineer, project manager at Ajnalens, and he has around 6 plus years of industry experience. Welcome, Suraj, for this exciting session, and thank you so much to you two for agreeing to be a part of this session.
Namaskar everyone, Namaskar Krishna, thank you for the introduction. And yes, being a part of ACP, part of delivering the developers to the ecosystem, yes, it's a pleasure to be a part of this expert session. And yes, we are going to do. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get started. And first of all, I would like Kapil, you to talk more about the company, the kind of work you do at Meta Studios, probably also the vision behind coming up with such an exciting company, even when the topic such as metaverse is fairly new for Indians, probably.
Right. So at Meta Studios, we have three lines of businesses that we categorize it. The first one is building immersive solutions for enterprises. All these companies, all these bigger corporates, they are looking for serious applications, utility-driven applications for metaverses like trainings, employee onboarding and other HR procedures. Process improvements. These are like the serious utility-driven applications of immersive environments. So we build the content and they build the experiences for that. Second, we are a game development company as well. We build games. Primarily, we focus on mobile games because of the market capture of India. Like the majority of the players are on mobile. We build mobile games as well. Currently working on a card-based cricket game that we are partnering up with India's biggest esports platform for that. A really, really passionate team who loves doing these things. And the third one is the one that I'm personally bullish on the most. That is picking up pace a lot, and that is gamification of experiences. What I mean by gamification of experiences, it's like a blend of.
Extremely sorry for the disturbance.
No problem. Yeah, the third one is the gamification of experiences. This is one that I'm personally very bullish on. It's going to pick up a lot of pace. That is adding a layer of gamification into any kind of an engagement. Either it is a first category, which is the enterprise solutions, or any brand engagements. We are working with some of the biggest brands in the country right now, creating immersive go-to-market solutions for them. And gamification is nothing but adding an element of mini games. For example, if you have to do a training, there are two ways to do a training, right? You walk in an environment, okay, this does this, this does this, this does this, that's a training. Or you create a Q&A, or you create a quest, or you create some kind of an activity around it, which results in the user learning about that particular topic. So that's gamification phase. So we are seeing this one being picked up the most. So we have a team of developers who build the experiences. We have a team of artists. My art director being ex-Disney, ex-Raj Comics, these kind of people, and we have a team of game developers who have come from like more than 20 years of experience in the gaming business. That's how we categorize our all set of operations. We are personally bullish on the gamification of activity and the training aspects. Gaming, we are doing because the demand comes, but otherwise, these are the two baskets that we focus heavily on. Partnering up with brands, partnering up with consultants and channel partners across the globe now. So yeah, that's what we do. And the latter part of your question, why are we doing this? Even after metaverse being questioned, so to say, the easy answer is come on. You are really revolutionizing the whole space by creating one of the best headsets out there. So we know we are on the same boat there that the demand is definitely there. It's all about doing it right. The demand has never gone down. Metaverse is like a very big term that is being thrown at everything. Any experiential environment you build, hey, it's a metaverse. So I think it's the most misused term of our times right now as we speak. But in a simple sense, it's nothing more than an evolved demand or requirement of humans for a better experience, right? As humans, we are social animals. We crave for better engagements. We crave for better experiences. We crave for a much improved and enhanced way to connect with other fellow individuals. That's plain psychology at the base of it, right? And these experiences, the virtual experiences that are being created, are very simply an evolution and a response to humans' demand for that. Facebook, when Facebook came in, it was why did it become so famous? Because it provided a new vantage point for people to connect with each other, to engage with each other. People, like everybody was like, oh, this is something new, right? Before that, you were connecting in the physical world, had to kind of think of 10,000 things. Now you had a digital identity and you could connect digitally with people. YouTube came in and all these other online platforms became famous because it provided an opportunity for people to connect and be a virtual extension of their physical selves. Now, metaverse, again the misused term, is nothing but 3D environments with all these engagement opportunities in a much more enhanced manner. Right, so you get to connect with the other individuals in ways and possibilities that were unimagined before. So this will always keep on going up, and hence whoever is able to provide a better experience will survive. Whoever sticks to a way of doing business and thinking that, or rather not accept the change or don't do things in an innovative manner will die. So that's my strong belief, and we are seeing, there is no lack of business, there is no lack of good conversations. So people have now become mature in this space. They like to have a discussion with companies, with individuals who they can relate to, who they now know, okay, they know their stuff, they will be able to solve a problem, and anything that they do eventually will give me an ROI. And as long as that is taken care of, I think there is very good scope, there is very bright scope. We are very bullish. We are growing as we speak. We are hiring every month. So that's what we continue to do that. That's my 2 cents on it. Love what we do. Love this space. We are very bullish on this, and looking forward to keep building amazing experiences.
Really amazing to see. Like as you said, metaverse is actually a hype term. Probably because people are not sure what exactly it is, and they are just going away with the rumors that are spreading the market, but it is a very huge market, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you said that immersive experience or creating engagement for immersive engagement is the need of the hour, because human need something that can give them that dopamine effect, and the traditional way of doing things are now lacking that kind of effect. So even we are also doing something on that aspect, like creating training experiences that have a touch of immersion, that have a touch of reality to it. So on this, I would like Suraj to add a few more points, since he's the one working closely with the experience team of our company and creating day in and day out the touch and feel, the look and feel, the UI, UX, the elements of interaction. So I would like to have his opinion on what he feels and how are we standing out when we talk about immersion as an Indian company in compared to the global experiences that are out there.
Yes, and as Kapil elaborated about this entire metaverse domain, yes, to talk about this domain, see, there are various stages which we have crossed of getting engaged into, spend our time, learn and absorb from things. For example, we came up with the 2D world. We learn as a human beings. We learned through 2D world. We enjoyed the comics. Then we came up with the 2D screens where we use the game joysticks and all those things. When we played those games on 2D screens, which gave us engagement, joy of getting the learning things, understanding the strategies, building strategies, the game strategies which are there in CSGOs were so much inspiring for people to get engaged into the army background, the different real life scenarios based on the game scenes. So from that, this thing came up to the 3D world now. So it's basically the 3D thing is like a complete. It's a transformation for the entire generation. We can call it as a fundamental technology. Why we can call it as a fundamental technology is the reason is it's an exact replica of the real world wherein there is no limitation as such. Whatever the limitations of real world are, the gamification, the being a part of that movement, enjoying that movement, uh, getting engaged into that movement, all those possibilities are similar to what is there in the real world. And if that thing, if you are calling it as a fundamental technology, uh, all the stakeholders who are there in different sectors, for example, maybe IT, maybe mining, maybe automobile sector, everyone has some other takeaways from this segment. Because the thing is, when you go into any of this segment and start your engagement, both the things are in compromise, the human resource as well as the machineries, wherein the XR and the metaverse technology gives you a platform wherein none of them is compromised while you're engaged with the surrounding atmosphere, the look and feel, the strategies, the response, everything. So this has a takeaway for every sector. But if you talk about every sector, there are needs of this every sector. And when we talk about needs of this every sector, different sectors, therein comes for the needs of developers of metaverse. So if we talk about the need of developers of metaverse, if we talk about the traditional education for this technology, for the for the basic concept, or if you want to locate one particular point in 3 dimensions, there are three coordinates x, y, and z according to which we have to plan our look and feel, according to which we have to plan our user experience, according to which we have to plan our next responsive action to it. So all these factors which are missing out in the traditional education factor, all the uh, developers which are available currently are adopting this technology, doing learning it with trial and error methodologies, and then serving this stream. So subject matter expert, diving of subject matter expert to this domain is growing slow at a very slower pace, wherein this thing will grow exponentially when it will absorb the attention of different industry, wherein it is achieving the ROI from industries. So just as Kapilji mentioned about the onboarding process in different industries, they are making a content for onboarding process. So if we talk about the onboarding process, then the attention span which end users is received in XR and the attention span of the end user which is received in a training hall is about 3x difference, wherein it is 3x higher in XR domain. Why? Because he is more focused and he is not having any kind of distraction while he is in the metaverse domain. So that kind of ROI which is there in one shot, one goal. I have a goal to reach, and I am going directly to the point and delivering it to my end user or the one who I intend to deliver the point. So this kind of ROI when there is there for the industries will obviously come to this kind of solution. But when industries come to this kind of solution, there is a requirement of immense number of solution providers. Not just the solution providers, but the quality solution providers. So Kapilji would agree to that point. Yes, there is a demand, but there is also a shortage of supply for this demand, wherein industry is suffering for. Industry has requirement for quality developers with a limit, with a short timeline kind of thing. So this is what is the thing which is the requirement of current industry, Krishna. And yes, we are also an end-to-end solution provider, but yes, we are more focused towards leveraging through it through our hardware and through the support of via development platform for Rajna Vidya for the developers, so that this development time for the entire experience can be reduced and end-to-end ecosystem and support thing can be leveraged with OpenXR kind of technology for the developers. Yes, Krishna, what do you think?
Totally agree with it. So, like we have touched, since Suraj has touched the point wherein we have talked about the gap between the demand and supply. So, I would like your views, Kapil. Like, since you are working in this space, and as you mentioned that you are hiring every month, touchwood. So, what do you think? Do we have that amount of creators available in the market who can create metaverse experiences? Or is there a mechanism where you onboard people and then you train them, give them some specific sort of training? Like, how does that work? Like, have you faced any challenges? Like, to be honest, we have been facing a lot of challenges in terms of hiring XR developers because
Yeah.
there are not many in the market. And when it comes to quality, you either have to compromise on the resource or on the quality, right? So, as yourself being in that domain and yourself hiring, so what are the challenges that you have been facing, or maybe any incident that you would like to share, or something, any story of yours? So, our audience would love to hear it.
Right. So, I mean, see, quality is always a scarcity in whichever field we go, and the field that we are operating in is no exception. Unless it is, the manufacturing industry, because their adaptation becomes a little faster compared to the other set of industries. Everywhere else, this always remains a challenge. Depending on the stage of the organization, if it is a bigger organization, there you still have the flexibility of adjusting and filling in the numbers of vacancies, and then having the luxury of training, grooming them through the whole journey. If this does not fit here, you can fit them here. All those kind of adjustments happen, and hence in larger organizations, this discussion does not become too prevalent. But in the startups like ours, it's very important to hire right. And I have a very straight policy in the company that it's okay if we hire slow, but we have to hire right. So we have a due process that we follow for each and every hire, and every employee in my company, I'm super proud that they have the potential to be independently handling any project, because we go through a diligent process before we hire, and even after they are hired, we make sure that the quality standards are maintained. We are very strict in terms of the deliveries, the qualities that we that we build on, because the kind of partners that we are working with all have high reputations. So to work with them, it's very important to maintain that relationship. It's very important that the output of the content that comes out has to be as per expectations. So yes, there is scarcity of good talent, but that's across industries. So I wouldn't put our industry on spot there. And plus but the good side is, the upside is that the number of people who are interested to join the industry, that's going up a lot, right? So and that is and plus now AI coming into picture. So you really have to start managing the business in a way what is the most efficient way to kind of operate, and minus this plus that kind of a structuring that you do in the company, that allows you always to kind of make the right set of hiring decisions. So for example, if I need 2 people to be hired, I'll hire 1, but I'll make sure that that one person that I hire, even if it takes instead of 15 days, it takes 45 days, it's fine, but I need to get the right set of person to start with. And yeah, many times it happens that there's not a good fit, and then you have to invest time in training, which is fine. And that's a part and parcel of running the business. And that happens many times. It will happen. It will continue to happen no matter how cautious you become. You'll always have these situations where you have to invest time in training the employees that you hire, as long as they're aligned with the larger vision of the company. So I wouldn't worry about it, honestly. I'm an optimistic. You'll find positive response from me on every topic. That's not me trying to be nice, but I am like very optimistic about this space because the best thing about this is you get to meet so really passionate people. Like I just saw a message in the chat group. How can an experienced person having 8+ years of experience in different industries, example logistics or operation, how could they transition into this? Right? And this is not an isolated question. I go on so many panels. In every panel, I get a standard question. Somebody from a completely, different industry, very keen to step into this industry, right? So it's happening. It's happening a lot, and a lot and people are getting interested. And when people get interested, when people get passionate, even if they don't have the number of years of experience, the self-learning allows them to perform much better than people who can have a number of years of experience. This is a new industry, right? Until 2-3 years back, nobody was talking about it, and now it's a $1 billion industry. The term and the way it was operating has been like a 20-year-old concept, but the mainstream of this industry happened in the last 2-3 years. So these professionals who are running these companies, including myself, we were not doing metaverse and immersive experiences last 20 years. Nobody was doing it. Apart from a handful of people across the globe, everybody has stepped into this from something else. Their way of running business, their way of building something allowed them to transition into this. So it's a transition that everybody is going through. Like we build a lot of experiences on Unity. Majority of my Unity development team were game developers. They were building games. Now they are building immersive experiences, but they build really cool immersive experiences. Why? Because they have been building games, and games are much more complex, and metaverse and immersive experiences are nothing but a mini version of bigger games, right? If somebody can create Call of Duty, that person can definitely create how to fire a fire extinguisher and that kind of a training. So this is still a transition, but it is happening, and this is something which is happening across roles. So transitions are happening. So it's important to find kind of people who are really passionate and who believe that this is the future. Because if you find that kind of people, they will put everything on the table and they will go passionate and they will learn. So much is happening. Just now when we started thinking that, hey, now we know everything about content development, AI comes in and say, hey, surprise, I'm going to be like, I'm coming in with a lot of new tools, new efficiencies, new competitions, etc. that either you learn or you are going to be, forgotten. So now I'm hiring specifically a person who's going to be like the chief AI officer or the AI manager of the company. His job will be to help us understand all the AI tools and how we can integrate that in the business. That will help us become more efficient in the way we build. Even in content development, there is so much that is happening around AI that can help you build more efficiently. So now the content developers are not becoming less important. If they use the AI tools, they are going to become even more important. 6 months from now, the hirings that you will do, you will look for people who know AI tools as well. Right? So then there will be a point of the scarcity of people who know AI. 6 months from now, not even far. That's how it's gonna go ahead. So it's an evolutionary industry. It is a revolution which is going through a cycle of evolution. And every 6 months we'll see a new cycle. Every 1 year we'll see a bigger cycle, and every 1.5 years we'll identify a new scarcity, it's a part and parcel of this whole phase, because this is something new. Because this is something transitionary in nature, because this is something which was not there like 3 years back at the scale it is right now. It's not like the consulting business. It's not like the accounting business that have been in existence since hundreds of years, and people just study, get the job done. No, this is a new skill that you have to acquire. Anybody can do it as long as they have the passion for it. Apart from the technical stuff I'm talking about. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. That exists, but there are ways to manage it. There are ways to kind of plug and play this with this, A plus B or A plus C. Ultimately, you have to kind of get the results. So you can find your way around it.
Totally on point. Like, What I believe, adaptability is something that the technological advancement has taught us. Back when the fourth industrial revolution hit us, so the growth of tech was not as high or as exponential as it is now. Now every month or every year, now and then we see a new tech coming up, and like you mentioned, like we were good with content development, and suddenly AI comes in and gives us a bang. Okay, hey, I'm here. So yes, that happens. But then, as we mentioned about this, like, do we have any technical challenges that we face? Like, I'll just ask Suraj first. Like, say he's working in with the technical department closely. So, like, when it comes to experience development, the UI, the UX, the look and feel is one aspect of it. But the core tech, the functionality aspect or the functionality part of these experiences or content, how difficult, first of all, if it is difficult, if yes, then how difficult it is, and how can we map those things so that we avoid these technical challenges and get into the market as early as possible.
The main thing here is just by getting an introductory content from metaverse kind of industry for the end user who was not at all aware of this kind of thing is possible. Now the expectation of that end user has gone such high to the level of IoT integration stuff and all those things. So the lead time for development of entire thing with the traditional method from the scratch, right from modeling to the entire scenario depiction of, I'll just take an example of logistic parks. If I talk of just got an influence of the question. So if we talk about the logistic park, if recently we receive a requirement for developing an experience to manage the entire logistic park using the forklifts. So that entire experience development is when we create that experience, no, it is more. It starts focusing towards the end customers' dedicated requirements. For example, if we talk about a logistic park which is dedicatedly for pharmaceutical industry, so in that case we need to replicate the entire experience with reference to them, how their logistic park is managed, what all assets are there in it, how that what all activities are planned in that logistic park. So reusability of those assets, those activities remains gets a roadblock kind of. When you plan that entire thing, so entire development process goes for around 60 to 90 working days kind of thing. So the timeline, matching those timelines and integrations of those things with managing the security levels of their internal things and running such heavy contents on the headsets or via cloud is a bigger challenge. So there are two challenges in this thing. First thing is the lead time, which can be solved with the AI-based modeling tools which are available, and the AI-based experience skyboxes development thing, which is now in the trend. The lead times can be managed. And the second thing about the streamlining the entire process into a generalized content. So reusability is one thing which is as of now a bigger challenge, because the requirements are more intended towards one particular segment of industry. So reusing them and converting into a generalized content is becoming a challenge for the team. Because to get an ROI out of it, you need more number of masses and users for that thing, because of which the amortization of cost is not happening as of now. So the more customers bringing to this kind of thing is a bigger challenge, because of less of generalized content and more of a customized and personalized content. So that is one factor which is there in the industry.
So moving forward, like I would like to ask Kapil. There has been one question that popped up in the chat box since we were talking about salaries and jobs. So he's asking that the salaries in this field are very low when you go for a job hunt. So how can someone, say the above person with 8+ years experience, having decent salary, go in this field knowing fully well that their salary won't be at par with the current salary? So I would just like to reframe these questions. Let's say if I'm a person with 8 years of experience and I am earning, let's say, 10 lakhs per annum, and I have to like I'm transitioning to the metaverse, and if I see that the salary is around 6 lakh per annum, if we talk about the average salary that is existing in the industry, it is not more than 6 to 7, 8 lakhs per annum. So how comfortable will the person be to transition? Like I would definitely mention the point that you said, like if a person is passionate, then money might not be a factor, but then that's a huge exception out there. So in that case, how do you address that problem, or how do you see it? Maybe it is a problem or not?
See, let's address it at the foundational level. We get paid for two things. One, our experience or our capability to deliver the current requirement of the job, and second, our potential to enhance the requirements of that job. For example, if I'm a sales guy, if I have been doing sales for last 5-10 years, then I have that experience. I can sit in front of any executive around the globe and I can sell. I know how to sell. So I will be paid for that because I know how I can sell. But if I also have the potential to draw strategies, and then I draw the strategy of the company that, okay, how should we actually sell? Should we sell this or should we sell something else as well? This is an enhancement of my current role. As a sales guy, I just need to be, okay, my executive will tell me sell this, I'll go across the globe and sell. But if I wear the strategist hat as well, I'm helping my executive take the righter decisions in even forming the strategies and then sell things. This is an enhancement of the existing role. We get paid for these two things. If one of the two is not there, then the amount of salary or the amount of money we get paid is under question. Having said this, I'll bring this point into context now. The person is having 8+ years of experience in logistics. Now this person, out of his love and passion, wants to transition to the metaverse industry. You may have 20 years of experience in logistics, but what benefit will it give me as the owner of the company to have you in my company, right? So, and I'm not me personally, I'm talking from a business perspective to decide the salaries, right? So what is the value that you will add in the metaverse line of business? That will determine the salary, not the number of years of experience you have worked. If you're coming from the logistics industry and you have done, let's say, the operations or the back end, whatever the operational side of things, and you're applying for a sales job, or you're applying for a strategy job, or you're applying for a Unity developer job, content creator job, this is completely new. Here, your experience is ground zero right now. So you will be measured for this. Of course, the experience and you being matured, that gets factored in, but you can't expect the same level of jump out there. For that, you have to prove that you will be able to add a similar level of value to the role that gets added. And hence, whenever these kind of role transitions happen, and it's happening across the industry, right? Whenever these kind of role transitions happen, you would see majority of the role transitions to be like the smoother transition. What do I mean by that is somebody would be selling, let's say, SaaS products. Somebody would be selling something else. Now they come and be like, okay, I will sell this metaverse products. They know how to sell. I just need to invest 1 or 2 months of time in teaching them about metaverse. Metaverse is a new industry. I'm not going to get an experienced sales guy in metaverse. It does not exist. The industry is 2 years old. But I'll get an experienced sales guy. I'll invest 1-2 months to make sure that he or she understands the drift of it. And then my investment is taken care of. So the only discount I'll give on the salary is for these 2 months of investment. Rest I'll still pay the person for his experience or his or her experience in the sales field. So these kind of things really need to be factored in before factoring in the shift. So maybe when you're making a shift in the similar profile and then make your way up. Right? If you are an operational guy, shift to the operations of metaverse company. And then from there, you will learn about the business, then make a different shift that can happen. It's fine, it happens. Many people do it. Right? So that will be an advisable kind of a transition that you can continue your role because that experience gets valued. And then, of course, self-study is going to be the most important thing here. Learning on the job comes second, but you'll have to prove to the employer that I've done a lot of self-study, I have an experience in this, I've done this much, then I can do this much. So the potential part that I talked about, that gets valued. So these are the things I think that you'll have to factor in and accordingly take a call whether or not you want to make a shift or no. Because this is the thing exactly that the employer will consider. while making a decision of whether to hire you or not. That's that's my
Where
take on that, Krishna.
Yes. I totally agree with that. Like we were having, I just can recall like last week we were having this discussion, and the same topic came up, and this was a kind of conversation that went up. Like it depends upon which domain or which sector or which position, to be precise, you have your expertise in. If I am a content writer and if I go to metaverse and expect a higher salary, it might not work, or maybe I may get more or less. It happens. So I'll just come take a step back and come to a point where I would like to ask you, like you mentioned working for training, like creating immersive training experiences, right?
Yeah.
And with HR onboarding with one of them. So like before you decided that you would go like for onboarding or training experiences, like did you do a study or something, or did you have something in your mind like I am going to focus this particular sector? Like metaverse is one such concept that is applicable to all industries. There's not a single industry that can surpass or bypass the application of metaverse. It can be
Yeah.
anything. Even sales can be in the metaverse, right? So every department, every industry has some or the other application in terms of metaverse. But according to you, which few industries or one or two industries has taken a lead or are the early adopters of metaverse? And maybe if you can highlight some of the reasons why they are the early adopters, so that would help us.
Right. So I'll answer this in three buckets. One is, the whole training angle. Why do I think that training angle is quite important, right? These companies who wants to build in the training pieces, because that's very relevant for the audience here. Second is, of course, the early adopters and why the early adoption, and third, who are the early adopters. So let's first talk about the early adoption basket, right? Why the early adopters? When metaverse started becoming famous, it was the talk of the town. Everybody was talking about it. You create one 3D web page and you would gain like attention. Oh, see, something new came out. So it became a very strong point of PR. So initially, a lot of brands, a lot of companies did whatever random they wanted to do for the sake of PR. Buying lands in different metaverses for exorbitant prices without any justification, just to get that PR. Okay, we have this land here, we have created this shop here. What will the users do in that shop? We don't know, but we have a shop. Why? Because it's PR. So that was the initial jump that you saw. Everybody wanted to do it. That was the time when people were not really clear about, what could be the utility, what could be the thing, because everybody was talking about it and you want to do what everybody is doing, right? That FOMO thing kicks in. Then came the maturity curve. And I've been fortunate to, been a part of this journey. And then came the maturity curve when people started saying, hey, we invested so much of money, what is coming out of it? Right? There's very less utility which is coming out, and what are we supposed to do? It's working for them, it's not working for us. It's working for this sector, it's not working for our sector. All those things started coming in. Then, these companies, the enterprises, the brands grew up and they realized, okay, wait, let's take a step back. The initial pump is done. We need to start figuring it out. What does it mean for me? That is when things became serious and settled down, and the whole topic of ROI came into picture. That, okay, we understand what is metaverse, we have seen it, we have heard about it. What does it mean for me? What problem can it solve for me? I don't want PR gig. We saw what happens in the PR gig. Now, please tell me, what problem can it solve for me? Right? That is where, these brands started becoming like matured, and this whole discussion started popping in. What could be the utility? What all can you do in the metaverse? You can open a shop, you can do shopping, you can do product launches, you can do some PR marketing activities, and you can also train your staff. You can do a lot of other things that are very expensive to be done in real life. That's where this thing started becoming serious, and more companies started realizing, oh, this makes the most amount of sense, because here I can actually measure my investment to return ratio. If I am in the construction business, or if I'm in the mining business, classic example. If I'm in the mining business, those cranes that you have to use to mine, it costs a lot. I think, if I'm not wrong, close to $1 million. And then you train your workers to operate that crane. That's an expensive thing. If something goes wrong, the crane breaks down or anything, you have to take the staff there, train them. That's an expensive thing. What if using virtual reality and haptics, the kind of technologies we have, we can do the exact same training in VR to precision, and it will be at a fraction of the cost. And once you do that level one, then you take the worker there. The chances of malfunction will be 95% lesser, and you save 95% of the cost as well. Then that started ringing a lot of bell. Like, this is a classic example I'm taking. Like this is like training, right? Like this, a lot of other use case, serious utility driven use cases, which is in the training sector, because that is where you see value. That is where you can see the cost benefit analysis, right? And hence, the companies started becoming serious about investing more and more time and taking seriously the training angle. How can you make trainings more effective? That's where the interest in development into training and getting into these side of things started coming in.
Totally agree to it, Suraj's side. So the point here is, you rightly raised an example of mining industry, wherein we have also deployed a mining simulator last year in one of India's government's mine. So the point there was, as you mentioned, yes, it costs in millions and billions of dollars, wherein a mining simulator, which is just with a 2D screen, and the right word for that machine is called as jumbo drill machine. So that machine costs around $46 a single unit. And previously, India used to import the mining drivers for this mining machines from African regions. So in mining industry, what happens is, in case of any incident which happens in the particular mining cave, so in that case, there is an audit which has to be done before starting the next cycle of the work. So in this audit, around 2 to 3 working days goes in this audit. So your entire manpower is sitting back and waiting just to complete this audit, and so they can restart their work. This was because of lack of safety, like negligence of safety factor, and lack of knowledge with respect to this high-end tech machines which are involved in the drilling processes. So the implementation of this XR technology with just headsets and the haptic gloves into this mining domain brought down the cost for about 46x of the in the mining industry, which was like wherein you are doing the trainings using this XR technology, wearing the gloves without getting engaged in the mine, without getting engaged with the machines, and without the limitations of usage for this limitations on the training hours of the machines. With this, what happened was, now Indian drivers were getting trained using this technology, and this shift was just made within the span of 3 months of play. Now, coming back to the point wherein where this kind of transitions can happen in metaverse industry. So, if we talk about a miner, in that case, we required a miner to plan our content, to strategize our content, to make the 2D SOPs and documentation, to plan a storyboard out of it from those written documentation. So in that case, there the industry experts' role comes in picture. When your visualization with respect to 3D domain, to mention about the major of the audience in this session is from the ACP course, the Asana Creator Program course. So the course has 6 levels where they learn from modeling to environment development, asset building, simulation, integration of this thing into an entire experience and all this thing. So when a person having an experience of 8 years goes through this kind of course, wherein he knows in and out of what all are the possibilities which can be done in metaverse training, and how far we can go in this training, what are the tools can be used in this training. That is the point where you can ask for higher amount of salaries. These are the package which mentioned about 6 to 8 lakhs are just for the freshers who are just a graduate who is having a knowledge about the domain. He can come into the industry with the relevant knowledge with zero experience of industry and come into the domain with that kind of package. When you're coming into this kind of industry with the knowledge of industry, wherein you are able to develop asset, wherein you are able to develop environments. At that particular point, when you are also a subject matter expert for about 8 years in an industry, that creates a value to you, and that's raise your salary bar. That's how you can pitch yourself in a point where, yes, if you have a consumer in this domain, I can be your subject matter expert with the knowledge of how XR thing, how MR thing works in this domain, and how I can explain a better presentable thing to your customer, and I can absorb your needs of the customer and present it in a complete package in the form. That's where the point lies, where you can ask for salaries and the amount of things. And yes, there are immense number of possibilities, and people are ready to adopt this thing. The only point where it lacks is the quality of the content. Yes, if it really bridges the gap between the real world training and the virtual training, yes, the industry will definitely adopt it. If you talk about automobile sector, if you talk about mining sector, if you talk about hard skill, just to give an example about hard skill thing, where welding and painting kind of things are involved. Well, there are two types of training majorly if we talk about. One wherein there are limited number of tools, and one there are even a number of tools, and there are dashboard kind of things. You have to interact with those dashboard in a sequential manner and all. But when we talk about hard skill, no one will come and hold your hand with that hard skill tool and tell you to hold at this particular angle, to hold at this particular distance. So this can happen in XR world with precision of millimeter level of accuracy, wherein you get the guidance on top of the tool itself. At what is the right distance you should hold the tool from the virtual object. In the real world, you will get the same kind of experience. To talk about just to talk about the feedback kind of thing, we had an interaction with NDL, the Muscat of Limited, India's largest organization of shipbuilders. There the welders gave us an example that first time when they used the welding torch, the spatter which was coming out was frightening to them. And for 2 weeks they were so frightened to touch the torch itself. So this kind of things can be eliminated, and the learning curve for that particular skill can be exponentially elevated. Wherein because when you learn that thing in XR or VR, the spatters will not harm you, but you will get an idea about what is the dangerous thing which can happen in that particular scenario. That is the thing where in a hazardous situation of heavy engineering industry, that's where is the thing training can be impacted, and that those industries are open to adoption. The only thing is the quality and the accuracy of the content which matters. With the experience, we can come down to the industry, but you also need to get some knowledge about the industry and show the combination of expertise and the metaverse knowledge. That will obviously elevate your potential for your asks and better revenue streams. Yes.
Absolutely agree. 100%.
Okay, so we have 5 minutes, so we'll quickly go through the questions in the chat box and let's see how many can we answer them. So first of all, there is a question from Krishnaveer where he's focusing on the price of the headset. We have been talking a lot about content development and the experiences, but a major factor when it comes to experiencing them apart from the web-based sources is the XR headset. So as he mentions that the XR headset as of now is pretty costly, be it MetaQuest Pro or be it any other like Apple is coming up with their headset soon on June 5. So that is also expected to go around $3,000. Even as an XR is priced somewhere nearly $1,000 to $1,500. So on that aspect, like Kapil, what is your view on, like we are from the hardware industry, so we have our XYZ reasons why the hardware is priced so high. But you might have a different perspective, like why is the hardware first of all necessary, and why should someone pay that amount of money to procure that hardware?
Right. So, I mean, why is the hardware necessary? Goes without saying. Like, without a strong, good hardware, you just can't. We are seeing the web-based applications. They are not the real immersiveness, right? So you need like a very good hardware, which is light, which is comfortable, which makes you want to wear it. That kind of an experience you need. That is the need of the hour. Now, why are they expensive? I'm going to use a very simple example for this. If I may, to make it a little interesting, whose question was it? Can we ask them to unmute this? Uh, let's make it a little interesting.
Krishna, please go ahead.
Krishna.
Yes. It's my question. Yeah.
Hi,
Completely.
Krishna. So if you don't mind, which phone do you use?
I'm using Poco.
Poco phone. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you have to compare a Poco phone with an iPhone 14 Pro Max,
hmm
would you see a difference in performance, difference in storage, difference in the speed, and a difference in a
Yeah,
lot of the whole
definitely. I
experience?
do see the experience, but it is depending upon the utility, right? Because my
Exactly.
major utility is that okay, I just need to get on the call or use WhatsApp, right? That is my major
Correct.
utility. But my
Exactly.
question is
Now,
that the major roadblock I see in adoption of this in this this metaverse experience, that the cost of headset is high, and the headset we are using is not that lightweight or handy to carry on the board in the flight, right?
yeah.
So that is kind of a roadblock I see, right, in adoption at a larger scale. How can we, or how the industry is, working upon that so that we can make it more lightweight, probably like a glass, right, you are wearing in, or something like that, right? That is my question actually.
Got it. Got it. Let me address it. And because this was like very important to be addressed properly, hence I requested Krishnadeep to to come on the stage. Sorry to put you on the spot, but this is like really an
Not
important
an
aspect. Because when we're talking about metaverse, we are talking about building interesting headsets. This is a question that will get asked the most.
yes.
Now, to address it in relevant to your perspective, right? The utility. For even for me, like even though I use like an old iPhone because my wife bought it for me, I still use it for like WhatsApp and calling. I don't have any other utility.
Yeah.
But if I have to play games a lot, if I have to do streaming a lot, if I have to do like active utility a lot, I will need an expensive phone, right?
hmm
I will need an expensive device because the computing power, the processing power, all that is needed to deliver a quality output for me to use that kind of a mobile. And how much do these mobile cost? Like a typical iPhone would cost not less than 50,000. It's
Yeah.
a device, right? Now apply the same logic to a headset. In a headset, imagine you are seeing so many polycounts, you are showing so much of an immersive experience, all without any wire, without any cable, where there's a headset. Why are the headsets bigger and bulkier? Because they have that kind of a machinery which takes a lot of space. Slowly and steadily, when the first mobile came out, it was like a big
Yeah.
thing. Right now, today we have slimmer mobile phones because the technology advanced. The same evolution is happening now in the headset space. The initial one that came out was like really fat, then the slimmer one, then the slimmer one. The Ajna ones I have tried, lightweight and much slimmer than any other out there. The ones that are going to come in the future are going to be even thinner, even this thing, because that's a technological advancement. But the thinness is got to do with the processing power. Every time the chip advancements happen, the processing power to put a smaller, size, whatever you want to call it, in a headset becomes easier. So you are paying for that. The headsets are expensive because it is providing that kind of an immersive experience. There are VR headsets that you can plug your mobile in that will cost $2,000. Like there are hundreds of devices. You can plug your mobile in that and it will give you like some sort of a experience there. It will come for 2,000 as well. But the real true experience where you can play games, where you can do trainings, you can have your real immersive experience, that requires a lot of processing power. Hence its cost. Hence it costs expensive. And whenever somebody asks me this question, I literally give a comparison with mobile. We don't mind paying 50 to 60,000 for a mobile, even though we have to do just chatting and calling. You and I are exactly the same. Even I do the exact same thing on a mobile, but still I have like an iPhone. It's an expensive phone. I didn't mind
Yeah.
paying for it. But when it comes to a headset which is going to provide so much of utility, it will enhance our skills. It will give us a better experience. It will give us a better engagement. The price comes into question. The reason is it is new. It is new. Slowly and steadily, when people will start realizing the value of it, right now it's new, so people are getting to know the value of it. Once 6 months from now, 1 year from now, people will realize, okay, this is very important. This is adding a lot of value. Even kids, for that matter. By the way, we are doing a lot of things for kids in this sector, and the adoption is like insanely good. So once that comes into picture, then the price bar will not become a question. Then you will see the question that you pay 60,000 and you get a chatbot, which is you pay 60,000 and you get an entire experiential device, which one would you choose to pay for? The choice is yours.
Yeah, you have aptly explained this, but I was just correlating it with the what Meta or Facebook has said recently, right, or lately, that they are going to make it a metaverse experience, and they are expected most of the normal people around the world can adopt to their situation, right, or they can adopt to the metaverse, but it would not be a fit for that purpose, right? At this stage, I'm assuming because it is costly and bulky.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is a debate. Like, in the interest of time, we can take it offline. This is a long debate that can happen. But just to
Yeah.
like address the context, I hope I was able to get that context. I'll pass on the mic to you, Krishna. All yours.
Yes, very rightly said. See that if we talk about the costs of headsets in the industry, uh, if we talk about the adoption of computers, mobiles, and all those things in the early stage, when it's uh, very fresh stage to adopt the things. Obviously, because of the amortization factor, the cost is high. When the demand and supply goes high, the cost will obviously come down. But the thing is, as of now, what on our end, Ajna's end, we are trying to do is we are trying to develop the best quality and best tech headset with respect to get in at par with the international movement in the segment. So if we talk about the best quality headset and for the if we want to develop the best quality experiences and environment, we need the best quality tools to be with the developers. So if we need the best quality tools to be with the developers, that means we need at least we need the MR headsets because it's not just the virtual reality experiences wherein this domain will stop. It's going to when you talk about the extended reality experience, it combines both the things: AR experience, VR experience. So getting into the cycle of buying a cheap VR headset, also buying a cheap AR tool again, and then going through the experiences. So instead of that, when you will be getting in the future of this domain, would be getting into the mixed reality domain, wherein you need this combined experiences in one device. So at that point of time, these kind of investments will again become a roadblock for the development factor. So therein, the first point is the all-in-all hardware, which can be a useful tool for this domain. And because of the its initial what we teething stage of hardware device, that's the reason the price of the headsets might feel high. But because the thing is, as we also know that paying capacity of the consumers is also growing. The reason for this thing is when you get into the domain, when you develop such kind of content, so the content revenue generation and the entire cycle which would be there through this headset, the content generation and the sales cycle across it would is obviously in comparison to the ratio of the headset prices. So obviously there is an investment on the headset front, but it is because the quality of content we are trying to run on the headset is a high quality content, which will generate a revenue stream out of it, and that's the reason. Over the period, obviously, the cost of the headsets and hardwares will reduce when the chipsets and all the other accessories will get amortized. The demand will increase. Is obviously everything will get reduced, but for initial adoption, obviously the cost of manufacturing and the cost of delivering this thing to the end customer has to match with ad par, so that someone has to manufacture this thing. If we talk about only cost and there would be not much of deliverables with respect to quality, then this thing will obviously hamper the experience out front, and the entire life cycle will suffer because of this. So yes, the price factors will come down, but yes, that will take a time wherein experience adoption will increase and the hardware adoption will parallelly increase. The price point will obviously come down.
Well said, Suraj. Well said, Kapil. So I think we have around 9. So I would like to end this session. Thank you so much, Kapil, for giving 1 hour 1 hour of your busy schedule for this session and like sharing all such exciting insights for us and as well as our audience. It was great having you.
It was a pleasure, Krishna. Thank you so much for having me, and pleasure connecting with you, Suraj. Really good to exchange notes on the same page. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Namaskar.